What's up, everybody? Welcome back to On the Warpath. It's Sanchez 405. If you're new, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime there's new content posted. And as always, like, comment, share this video out. Greatly appreciated because you know what we do here? We're talking Washington football team news all the time. And today we have another special guest as we bring in the voice of our Washington football team, Mr. Bram Weinstein. You can check him out on Twitter and Instagram at @TheRealBramW, and also catch his show from 3 to 6 on ESPN 630, the sports capital, the Bram Weinstein Show. And also a disclaimer, this interview was conducted before the announcement that Morgan Moses had been allowed to go out and find a trade or look for a trade partner from the team. So we did not touch on that because that was prior to it. But either way, enjoy my conversation with Bram. And after the intro, it's going to be Sanchez 405 and the voice of the Burgundy and Gold, Bram Weinstein. Hey, let's cue that intro. We have the voice of the Washington football team with us, Bram Weinstein, the man, the myth, the legend, the Empire Strikes Back, the owner of Empire. And you ever heard? You're going to yes. Right. Hey, you just got to tweet me when you use that. I'm trademarking that for you. But Bram, it's a pleasure to have you here, and we'll dive right into it. Since about July, you were announced as the play-by-play voice for the Washington football team, and I know it has been some challenges for you all. Talked to Julie earlier, and just talk about being the lead, the story describer, I guess you can call it, and the challenges that you all faced. One, with no fans at home, and then doing it via the TV.
Yeah, I mean, the job itself was like dream come true. So it was it was awesome just to do it. Obviously, it was challenging in that this was the first time we were all going to do it together. It was the first time any of us had done an NFL game in a booth before. And we didn't have a preseason, so there were no practice games, if you will. And yeah, I mean, the fans not being there became like really obvious and strange right from the jump. I mean, I go back to the first game and Philadelphia was up 17-0. And I really just don't know what the mood in the stadium would have been like if the fans just start acting like same old, or nothing's changed, and how that might have affected the outcome. Would there have been a comeback if the mood and momentum was clearly in Philadelphia's favor? Like, I don't know. And then you get to the end of the year and they're playing Tampa Bay in the playoffs. And I would love to know what the sound of the stadium would have been when Taylor Heineke had a touchdown. And because, like, not that I'm, believe Tom Brady's going to buckle under the pressure, but the stadium and the momentum off of that play where it's now a 2-point game going to the fourth quarter, I don't know. Does that carry the day? Do they steal a win? Do they continue a run in the playoffs? Like, I don't know. I don't think we know that. So I really feel like the fans not being there, and just for me, like I'm just a giant sports fan, like everybody else. I miss not having the crowds. Like this past weekend, I went to the Preakness. There were 10,000 people there, which is an unusual, number for that event. But at least there were 10,000 people there, and I felt like I could breathe again. Like it felt normal again. It felt like cool to be at something. And I just can't wait till this fall when the doors are back open and we get the fans back in there, because that's what makes sports great. We all get to congregate together and enjoy it together and live it together. And them not being there was a huge gap, like just missing piece of the whole thing. And with calling it off TV, listen, that was complicated for sure.
Right.
It was complicated, but that was the hand everybody was dealt. And so we dealt with it.
Yeah, and I think y'all did a great job of that. Like you said, this was your first year doing it, a 3-person booth, which that kind of divvying out the time and the analysis of everything. I know that can be difficult, but with everything opening back up, and you look at the schedule, and I asked this to Julie earlier, what what trip are you looking forward to? And I know you're a ponies guy, but you can't say Vegas. What trip outside of Vegas are you looking forward to?
I mean, Vegas. I mean, because I like Vegas is my favorite place in America outside of Washington D.C. So the free trip to Vegas is like I'm only complaining about it because it's in December, which is not like the time to go to Vegas. But like I'll miss that. I'm bummed we didn't get London because we had a 1 in 5 shot at getting London. So I was a bit bummed out that didn't happen. Outside of that, man, I mean, I love Denver just as a place to go. I'm not like looking at that like circle your calendar game, but I love going to Denver. So that'll be a cool place to go. And I'm trying to remember, is there another one? Because God, I mean, the main major heavy opponents are here. You know, that's the schedule is very heavily tilted to what it looks like right now, that the prime contending type teams that we have on the schedule are all going to be here. I've been to Green Bay. If you've never been to Green Bay, it is like football mecca. And so it is really cool. And I do think that from just a professional experience of calling an NFL game in Lambeau Field, I'm not sure that of all the road trips that anything will be better than that.
I can see the sports fan just geeking out on that. I mean, just to go up there to Lambeau, I said, heck, I want to go up there even when there's not a game, just to see that and feel that history. Surprisingly enough, I'm surprised nobody said Ron Rivera's return to Charlotte. That's on my birthday, so I'm looking forward to going there to see him return and see if they can get that revenge back on him from back in December. And kind of talking about being loyal to a certain area for a long time, Ryan Kerrigan, he should run for president one day, I think, because he did that midnight announcement where he got Congress. He sent this nice letter out, and then guess what? He blew up the whole thing and went to DC's favorite sports rival in Philadelphia, went to the Eagles. Talk about what you thought when he went to the Eagles, and also talk about Ryan's career as a whole in Washington.
I think he belongs in the Ring of Fame. I really do. I mean, all-time sack leader ought to speak for itself. I think we all know here, anybody watching this or listening to this knows, it's been up and down throughout his career here. He's been a model citizen. He's been a great teammate. He's been a really terrific organizational representative. And he's been durable throughout all of this. And he's never once complained about the circumstances he was in. And I take him at face value that really what was important to him was he was going to play. And that was not going to happen here short of injuries because of who the defensive ends are on this team now. So I knew that it was very unlikely he was going to be back. I think he knew it was unlikely he was going to be back. You know, once that first wave of free agency went through and he wasn't going to get big money and starter money, I was hoping, just because I think he's a good person and a good person in the locker room, that maybe they could figure something out where he could come back and get the same money he'd get on the open market and be a primary backup again. But obviously that's not what he wanted. And I don't blame him. He wants to play. I appreciate that he wants to play. I'm a bit surprised it's Philadelphia. My producer, Mike Callow, pointed out, and I don't think that he's wrong about this, that there might have been some regionality to that decision, that he really actually wanted to stay close to here. Like maybe he has a young family. Maybe he doesn't really want to uproot. If he goes to a place like Philadelphia or Baltimore or something like that, he could go back and forth, or he could have a second home, but not have to uproot. You know, in the end, I hope that he stays, whenever his playing career is over, that he stays close, because I think he's a good ambassador, a good representative of the organization. And you know, it's gonna be weird seeing him in green, that's for sure. But like outside of that, you know, I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got a really good opportunity. I was actually hoping he'd land in either Pittsburgh or Baltimore if they had interest in him, because I thought like I'd like to see him have a ready-made championship type of run. That's the weirdest part about signing with Philadelphia is find me a person who thinks they're going to be good this year. So like I actually, you know, I'd be surprised. And so that's the one part of this. He's lived in a situation where playoff games have been few and far between. And he just went to a place where it looks like playoffs don't feel kind of like unrealistic for them. So I don't know. You know, we'll see.
Yeah. And you know, the draft was interesting too, because you pick up Shaka Toney, who probably will stand up at linebacker, but William Bradley King, who was a former Arkansas State Red Wolf, and he had I think he had like all conference honors twice down there, but he kind of struggled at Baylor. Kind of bring him in there. In talking about that rookie class, which were what kind of stood out to you about the make of this rookie class, kind of transitioning from Ryan to kind of his replacements there?
So they always say you're going to take best player on the board. I really feel like that may have happened, but the depth and need really took priorities with what they did. They clearly needed a really good upgrade at linebacker. They did that. They did not have a left tackle on their roster. They may have gotten one. They need a deep threat receiver. That was the next pick. Like there's a lot of questions about what safety looks like. They selected one, and they're very high on this Shakatoni guy. So I want to see what happens with him. To me, the most intriguing name outside of Jamin Davis, obviously,
right?
Most intriguing name to me is Diami Brown. I really want to see what he can do. He seems to fit exactly what they need. This team has holes still, but I do feel like what's happened in 14, 15 months, I am more excited about the trajectory of this franchise than I've been in a long time. Like this team feels like they are making smart, wise, depth view signings. They clearly have holes. They clearly don't know who the long-term solution at quarterback is. I still think they need another running back. I still think they need another linebacker. I think they need to figure out what safety looks like. They may need another receiver. They probably need another tight end. And the offensive line, I'm not sure how it's going to shake out, but it does feel very deep there. Still, at all these positions, they don't feel thin to me anymore. They feel like they're getting deep again. And when the right people come along, I do feel like there's a watch out going on here. Like we are really arrow pointing up. And this rookie class, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because last year they're like Antonio Gibson's a steal. And he was, and they also said Antonio Gandy Golden was a steal. And he was. So, we got to slow down on all these guys and see what happens here. But I do feel really good. I think Jamin Davis is walking into an amazing situation with the people who are in front of him and what's behind him now, especially at corner. And I'm hoping that Diami Brown is walking into a situation where so much attention is going to be put on McLaurin and Samuel that he's going to be asked to do what he does best. And it does feel like we're really going in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I would also kind of jump on that and say, don't overlook John Bates. I know people think he might be a reach, but if you look at his tape, his history, and his draft profile, it kind of reminds me of, and I tell people this, I'm not saying this, but it reminds me of George Kittle and where he was taken at. He's a 5th round pick. He was kind of underlooked, but with the right coaching, Pete Hainer, I think they can get it done there.
Maybe. I don't think he has that kind of top end speed. So I would have a hard time buying that he turns into Kittle. But could he be a reliable target who is really more of a blocking tight end, which is something that was missing last year? I think that's the goal for him. I think what they're hoping at tight end is that over the next 12 to 24 months, Sammis Reyes becomes a target for them. But then again, I don't want to go too far with this. He's basically never played organized
football. Yeah.
So I appreciate what kind of athlete he is, but I think everyone needs to be careful about, expecting too much out of him. And the truth is Logan Thomas was outstanding for them last year. And so I think they feel like if nothing else, they have a really good first or would be 1A option. And if Reyes comes along quickly, that'd be great. For Bates, my expectation is he's more of a blocking tight end and an outlet type tight end, but you may end up being right about that.
Yeah, I just think that's his ceiling. I guess I'll rephrase that. But a couple more things before I let you go here. I think that did D'Angelo take credit for getting Logan Thomas on the team? Because I feel like that's something he would have done.
I'll have to ask him.
You have to, because I mean, those tech guys, they fly together. And do you have any projects, anything coming out that folks should be on the lookout for?
Oh man, I'm busy. I am busy. I would, for anyone who wants to check out my network, I always appreciate the opportunity to tell everybody about that. Ampire, AMPIRE. We've got 15 shows. We are mainly focused on sports and lifestyle in DMV and Mid-Atlantic. I really want to grow this network. to profile new young voices of sports and lifestyle in the DMV. We've got a really diverse group of people that are putting on programming, and we're growing really fast.
Awesome.
And we're going to be doing a lot of things in and around the community starting this fall, whether it's live events. And so I would just, ask people to be on the lookout for that. Check out what we got, and if you like this show, you might like John's, or you might like Mike Jones's, and to check that out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Bram, appreciate you can check him out. The Sports Capital, ESPN 630. He is from 3 to 6. He, thank goodness, if you don't want to listen to Kellerman, you can listen to somebody with sense. You got Bram Weinstein. So, Bram,
I won't tell my bosses at ESPN.
I won't tell them either. I might have to edit that out. But no, I'm just kidding. No, but as always, appreciate you coming on here. And for everybody watching, check out Bram. You can find him on Twitter as well. Love, peace, and hail. And I'll be talking to y'all real soon. I'm out.